right, here we are. And by the way, if you might notice, Harry's hair's grown a little bit. He shaved off his mustache, and his body's changed just a little bit. Regina.
Good evening.
I got your name right, too.
Yes, that's right. No more Renee, okay?
Okay, no more Renee. Just slap me upside the head. Of course, since I had that wreck today, I might get confused and say something wrong.
Oh, no. Well, I'll keep you straight.
Please keep me straight.
Yes, I will. I will, for sure.
Because I can tell you, that was something else when somebody...
I'm glad you made it here, though.
Well, you see somebody on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
Headed at you.
That
You either hit the ditch...
wasn't her fault, was it?
Well, she didn't think it was.
No, you see, I knew it.
You know,
Never is
she
it?
said, I've never had anything like this happen before. I said, well, lady, this is your first time you were driving on somebody else's side of the road because her tire was right on the yellow line. And so right before we got on the air, a lady called and took my statement, and it was so funny because she had a dog barking in the background.
Oh.
And I said, what kind of dog is that? She said, I apologize. I said, no, don't apologize. I said, I have a dog at my house that barks when I get on the phone, too. And she laughed, and she said, well, I have four, and I told my husband when he comes home to let me know, especially when I'm working, but he didn't let me know tonight. They were all barking and looking forward to the husband. I tell you what, dogs are wonderful.
Yeah, cats are wonderful, too.
Well, I had cats in my life, but right now I'm hung on dogs.
You do? Okay.
And goats.
And, of course,
And goats.
Yes.
And I'm trying to make Harry a goat herder, too. But glad to have you on the show tonight, and I think we're going to hold the call just for a minute because he's got it up there because there was something you wanted to talk about for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
we got the topic rolling and calls coming in, and you didn't get to discuss it.
It just never did come about. Yeah, well, I was going to, at that time we were still close around the election, and so that was more pertinent for that. But I ran across a bumper sticker this weekend, and it said, America bless God, instead of the other way around. And I thought that really struck me. And it reminded me of President Kennedy when he said, don't ask what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for the country. Mm-hmm. And now I've seen this whole country rolling into socialism and away from what it is intended to be, and that's why I wanted to speak up. You know, get away from this socialism, this mindset of the government is God and can provide for you all the time. It is not. And the interesting part about that, too, is the fact that we get away from God. Atheism is actually the result of the communism and socialism. It will show up very strong in the end. Anyway, that was what I wanted to bring up, besides the fact that, we need to be aware that the stronger that government gets, the more of a cultural stream follows this government, cultural stream being millions of people following an idea. If it's strong enough and powerful enough, they can kill you too.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit because that kind of goes along with what we were talking about in Sunday school this past Sunday. If you don't believe in a spiritual deity, and you don't believe that there is a perfect person, perfect place, does that not destroy your desire to strive to be better?
Absolutely. You're just a follower of an it, the government in it. It's not a person, a deity. It is. I feel that we're running in the wrong direction. And anyway, I've found something interesting too that Samuel Adams said, and I'm sort of in that category. And he said, it does not require a majority to prevail, but rather an irate tireless minority to set brush fires in the hearts and minds of people. Did you get that? That's sort of me. I want to set a brush fire for getting back the America, bless God, God can then bless America.
Well, see, I think one of the things that you do, and that's why I appreciate you being on the show, appreciate you stepping up to the plate and agreeing to come be on the show. I think one of the greatest things that has happened is the fact that you are putting yourself on the line, and the fact that you have lived under this total dictatorial, socialistic, worship the government, and you know how lousy it is and how poor it is.
Yes.
And I heard something on the radio the other day, and they're talking about on the news that China has brought, 2.5 million people out of poverty in the last 20 years. And how
many?
2.5 million, 3 million, something
Out
like
of billions?
out of billions or whatever it was. But see,
Oh, wow.
what it was, they said they had done a great job of bringing them out of poverty
Well,
because they didn't have anything. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, why did they come out of poverty? I think it has to do with the seeds that has made America great. And that is, you get to keep
what you work for?
your efforts. The fruits of
your efforts.
The fruits of your labor you get to keep. And this is one of the things that I think our churches do not really talk about that much. But when Christ was born, where were Mary and Joseph going? To Bethlehem. For what?
To be?
Counted for the census for taxes.
Right.
And the reason the tax collector was hated so
This is
bad,
so ironic.
the reason the tax collector was hated so bad was because he got
To keep
a certain amount he had to collect, and anything above and beyond that, he got to keep.
Oh, yeah. Being a tax collector was not a popular job, was it?
No, because he was getting to keep a large sum of money, and he got to keep how much more he could get out of you.
Now we want to give the tax collector more money? Yes.
And the government wants more money.
Yeah, we want to give it to them.
And we have people like
ridiculous.
Cecil Bothwell on the city council that, says, well, we've got to give to everybody, take care of everybody. The scriptures doesn't say that. The scripture says take care of the widows and the children. It doesn't say take care of every drunk on the street. It doesn't say that.
There has to be an initiative that comes from the heart to want to be independent and free and work for your stuff.
Well,
and work hard so you can have even more.
If you go to Genesis, though, why was man created?
To please God.
For fellowship with God.
Yeah.
Which meant he was created for fellowship and he was created with free will. Ah.
That is a hot button, isn't it?
That's the hot button right there, the free will.
Yes.
Because that ties back into it. I just saw Glenn Beck this afternoon talking about the Tower of Babel. And they had a Jewish rabbi there, and he's talking about bricks.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Bricks and mortar, and the fact that the bricks and the mortar represent materialism.
And uniformity.
And guess what? This is new. You're going to hear it here first. This is straight from the county commissioners meeting, folks.
Oh.
They're discussing about doing more projects.
Like what projects?
Like buying and building.
Oh.
Spending more money.
They don't have any money.
That's what they're planning on doing.
Oh. What happens to us when we do that? When we don't pay our bills?
All we have to do, and we can go ahead and take calls now, Chris, if you'd like. Is it all right with you to take calls now?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Strange at how things tie together. See, when you're not like Obama, you don't have that script over there that you got to follow.
Well, if they would get rid of their money, give all their monies up, Pelosi, and all of these big government entities, give up their money, come down to our levels, and then we are even and we can go from there.
You mean you couldn't rent the whole floor of the Grove Park Inn for you and your entourage and send a limousine down to
No.
12 Bones to pick up,
No. Didn't Bernie say he was going to fly commercially and not use Pelosi's jet? Just to save money?
We will find out. Uh-oh.
He said that.
Here's the phones are ringing now. Hello, you're live on Citizen Speak.
Yeah. know exactly where they're getting that money from our tax money.
They're getting it from your pocket.
You're getting from yours is gone.
I know, honey, they are. As a matter of fact, it's kind of like that TSA. If you see that on the news now about this, how these security guards at the airport are sticking their hands down the men's pants, and how the women are getting rubbed down by lesbians. And
Oh my God.
the funny thing about it is they say they're searching you and doing a strip search, so they just sticking their hands down your pocket and pulling out money.
That's all we're doing.
That's
Sticking
it.
in their pocket.
Appreciate it, hub. Thank you.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, here's the good one. This
Yes.
leads right into what we said.
Oh,
Here's Buncombe County spending money. Here we have California budget shortfall twice as large as predicted.
twice.
In what has become a sober November tradition, the nonpartisan Legislative Analyst Office projected Wednesday that California must close a $25.4 billion shortfall next year, twice as large as the legislatures have predicted. I'm going to make a bet with you North Carolina's going to be in the same shape. California faces another major budget problem because tax rates are slated to drop. The federal government will provide less relief, and state leaders enacted a flimsy fiscal rescue plan last month, the analyst office found. The economy is recovering, but not fast enough to overcome the state's budgetary obstacles. The latest projections suggest a difficult road ahead for Governor-elect Jerry Brown. Hello, go ahead.
You're just talking about California there. And the courts down there decided that any citizen living in California was eligible to go to the state colleges. They didn't have to be American citizens. They decided that the illegal aliens were eligible too, whether they're paying taxes in California or not. They're eligible for state college
Tuition.
funds and everything else. And just a couple of weeks ago, the Supreme Court or whatever out there in California, awarded illegal immigrant $1.5 million because he was locked up in jail and was refused medical care. So
Well-
no wonder their budget is so backwards right now.
Well, here's the question that I have for Californians. The man that created this mess was Jerry Brown, and they just reelected him governor. What do you think about that?
Maybe he's an illegal immigrant himself. Who knows?
It's so funny. That was a good one. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think what this shows, if you want to know the truth, I think this shows in California you have the ability to have amendments and vote on them. And I think this shows you that the people themselves, when they take control of the reins, won't cut spending, they want to get the benefit, and they don't do what you just talked about, Regina. They
Yeah.
don't ask, what can I do for my state to help it? It's what can the
They
state do for me?
Yeah, and the Supreme Court, I want to point out too, is interesting, of the Supreme Court of the state or the whole United States. If they don't have anybody above them, they become the ultimate.
And now we're getting into an arena where Dr. Dan talks about it quite a bit. Your libertarians talk about it quite a bit. You have some folks that talk about it quite a bit, and that is that we no longer have three branches of government. What do we have in the legislature?